Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to talk about some suggestions and some ideas I had for improving D3. And I've realized, playing seasons now, Diablo 3, Reaper Souls, Diablo 3, obviously, vanilla, that, it's become pretty difficult to stay very entertained on a character for, an extended period of time. And I know if I have that problem a little bit, then other people probably have, and it's obvious. Most people, they don't stick to one character too long. And I think it's not that difficult to increase the amount of, the amount of time people want to invest in a character. If you just add some things, some juice to the game. I mean, just off the top of my head, the last season they added, well, I guess at the very end of the season when they started implementing these ancient items, which I think are fantastic. I mean, they have some, they're not perfectly balanced for some pieces, like ancient on weapons is way better than anywhere else. But they're nice, because it's more incentive to grind a little bit longer, try to get a full ancient set of gear, but some people really don't care that much because they're just stats. They don't actually change the way you play or, the way you set up your character. And I think you could take it a step further, for example. One idea I had was if you had a full set of ancient gear, your final bonus is, taken down to the next bonus. So for example, if you had full raid course set here and it was all ancient head to toe, your 5-piece bonus would become a 4-piece. Or, your Wrath of the Waste set, if you had all 6 pieces as ancient, it'd be a 5-piece bonus. Obviously, this would need some tweaking, and it'd probably be too powerful to have like 2 full ancient sets of gear potentially. So maybe find a way to limit that, or just make it for the 6-piece sets specifically. But I think it would add a lot of incentive if that was in the game, for example, for people to keep grinding and try to get a full ancient set of gear. And it would change the way you gear, and it would change the way you set up your character. We're very pigeonholed, held into having set pieces now, full sets. They're basically builds in the game at this point. Set pieces really, the set bonuses they put on these sets and the ones they rework, those are your builds now for the most part. I mean, who's going to use this set and not use Whirlwind, basically? It doesn't make sense. Or Ray Cores without Furious Charge. They completely revolve around that. And I think that's fine to an extent, but it locks us in so many gear slots that if you're playing Raid Course, for example, you have to use Vol Wards, you have to use 4-piece at least Raid Course set, maybe, 5 pieces, because the 5th piece isn't that big of a deal. But we get into the point to where we don't really get the opportunity to be creative. We can't really fit in a Leorc's crown, we can't really, use other rings, specific belts or chests, or we never see people use other gloves other than their set gloves unless it's Tasker and Theo's, stuff like that. You'll never see ice climbers used on anyone. Um, it would just be nice to free up some of these gear slots, and I think having a full ancient set require -1 set piece would be pretty badass. What else? Oh, I came up with another idea. We have like Hellfire amulets. That's awesome. This is one of the best implementations of Reaper Souls in my opinion, because it gives you an extra passive. It's going to be stronger than, pretty much stronger than any other amulet you can get, because an extra passive is pretty awesome on any build, any class. And I was thinking, grinding Hellfire amulets is a struggle, but it's very satisfying when you finally get one that you're like, this is better than anything that's not Hellfire amulet. And you keep grinding them. I'll grind beyond this, even though it's better than anything else that's not a Hellfire amulet output wise. You could, but what I was coming to is potentially add another thing. I was like, what could you do? And I came up with you could make like basically what I came to the conclusion were a few item slots were very bland, most specifically the pants. You know, kind of the boots as well. There's not really any stats that go on pants. It's always the same three that everybody goes for. It's like strength, fit, resistance. That's fine, you know. They're not as creative as like gloves or rings and amulets for the stats you can get, but I was thinking one thing you could maybe do is make like some kind of a Hellfire kind of thing again, except it's like an enchantment you put on your pants. And when you put that enchantment on, it gives you a random rune to a random ability, which is an insane amount of possibilities. You know, for example, you get this, you do this thing, whatever it might be, and you know it says your avalanche ability gains the rune of volcano. And then if you put it with like Snowcapped Mountain or something, it does both. Or you know, Battle Rage, you get Bloodshed and Swords to Plowshare at the same time. You know, there's so many possibilities. And there's probably some broken ones that would, you know, like Wrath of Berserker reduce all damage and insanity, you know. But it would be pretty exciting for people to grind that, I think. And they would come up, you know, there's so many different things you could get, and it'd be frustrating, but at the same time, that's like an endless grind for the best kind of reason. And it would, you know, it'd provoke some build creativity, and it would get us away from T6 rifts, it'd get us away from bounties, and, you know, greater rift spams. You know, less emphasis on EXP, and put the emphasis back where it needs to be in Diablo, and that's gearing up needs to be a very long process with great rewards. I think the process is too accelerated right now. Too accelerated in the sense that you hit the end way too quickly if you put in some time. You know, I got like, I don't even know, a little over 100 hours in Season 3, and, you know, I have full Wrath pieces, full Raycore pieces, I have, you know, Ancient Furnace, I have Ancient Bulkhead Swords, I have Ancient Boulder Breaker, and, you know, I pretty much have everything. I'm still looking for good rolls on all this stuff, but, I mean, for the most part, I have everything I need. And I was just thinking, you know, let's put the emphasis back on gear and making it a very long process that pretty much has no end. And, you know, I don't know how this quest line, whatever you want to call it, would go. It'd be like, you could do it similar to the Hellfire Amulet, you know, just get us out in the world again or whatever. Or, you know, you could put it in T6 or the Greater Rifts, you know, a chance to drop one piece just randomly, and you get 3 pieces, and then you can create this item, and then you attach it to your pants, and you get a random bonus. You know, it's just, I think the creativity really needs to come back into Diablo. That takes it away from just raw values. You know, ancient items are just increased values. Let's take it up to the next level. Let's make those set pieces, you know, full ancient gear desirable for a reason. That's dynamic. And, you know, what I came up with, having extra rune on a random ability would be another step in the right direction, in my opinion, from the creative standpoint. What else would be pretty cool? Talking about charms, I think that kind of an implementation, you know, people like charms in D2, but they hated the fact that it took up your inventory. So you could do like, have a separate inventory. You know, this would probably be like more like an expansion feature or something like that. But you could have like a 3x4 square or something, you get charms, and you can only put that 3x4 square is only for charms. You know, in D3 you had charms that were 3x1, 2x1, and 1x1. And you could do something pretty similar. You know, they have random rolls, you know. You can make them magic rare, maybe even make legendary one, I don't know. Just, you know, they could 1% move speed that goes beyond the movement speed cap, you know. Reduces damage taken from lightning by 4%, you know, and that would go beyond armor and lightning resistance. There's just endless possibilities with stuff like that. You know, try to take the affixes in a different direction, not just strength, fit, crit chance, crit damage. You know, you can have that stuff, but juice it up a little more. Another expansion thing I thought would be pretty cool is, you know, give us another item slot. I don't know what the item slot would be, like a ring, you know, another ring. I don't think that's the best idea, but, you know, just another item slot for gear, and make it not as bland as pants, for example. you know, CDR, area damage, crit chance, crit damage. Some of that stuff is pretty flavorable, but you do stuff like that. What else? The 7th action button in the expansion would be awesome. I think we have too many support abilities and buffs, you know, Wrath of the Berserker, Battle Rage, Warcry, Sprint. These are all pretty bland abilities, you know. Wrath is pretty fun for a big cooldown burst, but most of these are just like support abilities, and then we usually just have like one ability, maybe 2 abilities that are offense. You know, I think Wizard's a little different right now, but essentially all that stuff is kind of buff setup, support. You know, I think this Warwind, Wrath of the Waste sets is a little too bland. You pretty much just Whirlwind and some setups use Rend. I use Bash in mine to proc my ring, and all I do is spin and then Bash. That's pretty bland, you know. It'd be nice to have to where the game lets it make sense for you to use Ground Stomp or something, you know, something to that effect. You know, Overpower, Whirlwind, Bash, Rend. Those abilities are very bland, and you mix 2 to 3 of those abilities with Wrath of the Waste sets, and they're all just, you know, you spin basically, and that's it. And Whirlwind's fun and all, but let's throw in some flavor, you know, like Ancient Spear, make a reason to use Harpoon, or, you know, Ground Stomp, anything. I think that's about all I got. There's just some things I thought would be pretty cool. You know, some of that could be implemented in D3 as it is now, but some of those changes are probably better for long term. Like, they would need like serious balance checks and stuff like that, but I think creativity first, balance later. You know, we want to get people super pumped to play Diablo 3 and be like, shit, what are the possibilities I can have if I only need 5 or 4 pieces for my full set? What, you know, it's just like, oh man, how many times have you sat there and been like, I wish I could use a Leorc's Crown in my setup, but I can't because I have to use this or that. Just free up another slot. Nobody ever uses any other gloves other than their set gloves. I don't know, that's about all I got. Thanks for watching, and see you guys on stream, or next time I blast a video. Alright, I'm out.